Hi, everybody. Welcome back to 30 Flirty and Freaking Out. I am one of your hosts, Taya.
Hi, guys, and I am your other host, Heather.
And this is our last episode of the season. We're going to take a break for a hot minute here, regroup, and come back stronger and with some new stuff that we're really excited about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's dive into some questions. We had some fun ones submitted to us, and Heather doesn't know a lot of these that I'm going to ask, and vice versa. I don't know a lot of them that she's going to ask. So do we want to ping pong it back and forth?
Sure.
All right. First question. How did we meet our husbands?
Oh, I met my husband when I was 14, and he came to live with his aunt and uncle that lived in the same town as me, and we're studying the Bible with my aunt and uncle. And that's
It was a match made in the Bible.
Not exactly heaven. Yes, it was. It was. It really was. Yeah. He had me from Genesis. And then technically I was not allowed to be interested in him because he was not of the same religion.
Yes.
Until he got baptized in our religion when he was 18. And he's a year older than me. So I was under this assumption that like I had to be 18 to date, which is true. Like I was not allowed to date before I was 18. And I was like, oh, well, once I'm 18, I'm an adult. But technically.
Well, and to clarify the reason for that, you're only in the religion we were in. You're only allowed to date when you are ready to get married. And so if you cannot, although there are instances of younger individuals dating and getting, their parents signed off on their marriage at 16.
Yeah.
That's not common, but it does happen.
Yeah, but we don't date until you're old enough to get married, technically. Which is
it's not for
18.
funsies.
Yeah, no, it's not for fun. Yeah, it's to get married. So we kind of broke the rules with that because I was 18 when we started dating, and we had, spent a lot of time together and liked each other for a long time. And so once we were 18, we just...
That's bullshit, because I met you at 15 and knew immediately, like, they're a thing.
Yeah. I think he was in love with me for a long time. But
obviously, have you met you?
I know. So great. No, he's wonderful. And we dated for 6 years, which you're really not supposed to in this religion. You were supposed to, because there's so many opportunities for you to sin. And I got some sinning to do. Huh?
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get married yet until I was 24. And the way I think I fell in love with Edwin when we were laughing. Like he was always making me laugh. And I don't even remember what he said, but I remember laughing and in my head being like, oh my God, I love him. And I was like, oh shit, I love him. But I actually knew he was the one when my baby cousin got sick in our car and spewed her warm milk into my purse and all in our car. And I had to throw my purse away. I like pulled out what I could salvage and threw the rest away.
Jeez.
And Edwin cleaned it up because I couldn't. I was like gagging so hard.
And that's why he became a nurse.
I know, right? I don't work with babies. But that's how I knew he was the one. I was like, I'm keeping you. So
that's
sweet.
very nice.
Okay.
How'd
you meet Jake?
We met at our church. We were doing like maintenance on it, and he was on scaffolding with his brother. And I just asked him tonight, like, do you remember the day we met? And he's like, yeah. And he told me where. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, you walked up. I saw you. And I was like, and? He's like, yeah. And I saw you. And that was it.
You're like, and like, I took your brother away.
Do you remember anything that we said? And no, but I remember his brother is more like outgoing. Mm-hmm. And Jacob's very reserved. And so I was chatting with his brother, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's like so fun, right? Like, and I was of marriageable age. I was of breeding quality, if you will. And so anyway, his brother invited me a few days later to go rock climbing with a group, including Jake. And so I went on said rock climbing trip and realized almost instantly that Jake was way cooler and that I liked him a lot better. So then I just a little flip flop there and focused on Jake. And then 2 years later, I finally wore him down to date me. Mm-hmm. And then 9 months later, we were married. So it's pretty quick. That's how you're supposed to do it, folks.
Right.
Unlike Heather over there, tempting fate. Wow.
You good Gretchen, you. That's anyway. So funny because I think Edwin had a crush on my older sister when we all first met. Yeah, because I think he thought I was a lot younger than him. And I'm like, sure. Okay, sure.
Whatever you got to tell yourself, buddy.
Yeah, but I think he thought Sarah was more his age.
Yeah.
Which Sarah's 3 or 4 years older than him. But yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you do have a young face.
I know I do. That was one of the things I was like worried about when I first became a nurse because I was 22 when I graduated. And I was like, no one's going to take me seriously. I look 16 and I know I look 16. And
yeah.
But you go in and act like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They'll listen. The people will listen.
I do say when like a doctor walks in, I have a vivid memory of going to see a new gyno and he walked in and I literally like closed my legs and was like, where's your dad? Are you the doctor?
Are you allowed?
Yeah. Is this legal?
Unsupervised?
And that was the end of the appointment. I said, no, sir.
You said no? Oh my gosh, you're so brave. You were like, can I see your medical license?
No. Well, and he did a weird thing with his eyes. He kind of like rolled them back in his head when you were talking. And I was like, what is happening? I was so uncomfortable. It was like a consult appointment. Like he wasn't going to actually do anything to me that day. But I just remember thinking like, there's no way in hell.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. All. Especially gyno.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I got to be comfy.
Yeah. To open my legs.
We'll just segue right from there. How do you feel about your gynecologist? Please tell us.
I mean, I only go to see women.
Yeah, so. Well, and that was before I realized that was an option. To the point, I'm going to tell another story that's not related at all. To the point where when I was pregnant, I wanted midwives. I just felt more comfortable. And I assumed then that I would birth with women. And then all hell broke loose and I ended up at UW. And of course, it was just whatever doctor got assigned to us. And it was a man. And at that point, there was stuff and things and blood. And so he's like, okay, I was going to do a cervical check. And so I call him. I'm like, can you come here, doctor? And he's like, yeah. And he comes right up close. And he goes, I'm so sorry, but it's going to be kind of gross. I'm bleeding. And he literally just like looked at me and was like, oh, thank you so much for telling me that. And now I warned him as if it's not his freaking job every day.
That's hilarious, Taya. That is so funny. Oh my gosh.
It's literally going to be gross, doctor. I don't know if you've never seen a woman's
hoo-ha. Gosh. People tell me all the time, okay, ladies, if you're going in for like a GYN surgery and you're on your period, it is okay. So many women are like, is it okay? I'm on my period. Like I have a pad on. Is it okay? Yeah, just like you would.
I mean, I just asked that to my surgeon in October. Yeah. I wasn't even getting anything. I was getting my boobs done. But I still was like, is it okay? And they're like, yeah.
We see blood is the least of my concerns.
What did you say? When blood is the best
bodily fluid that I could possibly have on me. Yeah. I'm like, if I go, like, if there's, blood on my scrubs, I'm like, oh, it could be worse.
Dare I ask, what is worse? What's the worst?
Like, I'd rather have blood than diarrhea on me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fecal matter's rough.
Yeah, I don't want fecal matter on me. Actually, I would take blood over, like, mucus or sputum any day as well. It's disgusting.
Sputum?
Sputum.
Excuse me?
We see a lot of sputum.
Can you clarify the difference between sputum and mucus?
No. Sputum might be a little bit deeper. Yeah, I mean, like, we're intubating people and then you extubate them and they have all this like mucus on their ET tube a lot of times. Oh yeah.
Oh my God,
and
stop.
This anesthesiologist is like sucking everything and it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Okay, I thought I wasn't going to regret that question. I regret it so much. I'm so sorry, everyone.
And it's so funny because a lot of nurses have problems with sputum. And it's like we can do anything else with the sputum. We're all looking away.
I have a problem with you saying that so many times. So we're just gonna switch.
That's your moist.
It is.
Sputum.
Oh my God! I just discovered that.
Yep.
Wow.
Wait, which one's worse though, sputum or mucus?
Sputum, 100%. Okay. Mucus. I don't know. Mucus, phlegm.
Maybe
whatever.
Sputum is like the more medical term.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you know this? It's your job. I was going to say, anyone in the medical professional field can just let us know. They're like, oh, wait, I'm talking to one.
Tell me. Yeah. If you work in medicine. Maybe an anesthesiologist could tell us. Okay, question for you.
Oh. Okay.
What's one thing that you have always wanted to try, but you have not done it? And it could be you couldn't do it because of the religion or just something in life that you've wanted to try. I know you've skydived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That's a thing. I've done a lot of the things I wanted to do, like swim with whale sharks.
Oh,
we did that.
I'm so jealous.
I've swam with just regular sharks.
Wait, what kind of sharks?
In Thailand, they were black tip reef sharks. And then in the Bahamas, they were nurse sharks, which they're really like, they're just like big sucker fish, the ones in the fish tank that just, that's what they are. Like, no one cares. I'm
kind of offended that they're called nurse sharks.
I know, right?
They don't.
Honestly, I didn't know for a long time if it was Nerf, like the Nerf gun, or nurse.
Right.
I still can't tell you which one I say. I just whip it out there.
Nurse sharks.
Nurse sharks. Yeah, skydiving. Right. I had always been very curious about marijuana, but since leaving, I have tried it. And
gummy?
Yeah, I have formed opinions about that. Mm-hmm. What's another thing I haven't done? I would like to start a business.
Oh, yeah.
But I am petrified of doing it. Like I have all these dreams, albeit some are very good dreams too.
Yeah.
Right? I've spewed some of my ideas to you, and they're good.
They're really good.
But I get so scared to actually do it. And it's not that I don't have support. Like Jake has supported me through everything, right? Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. I guess I'm my own hang up. But one day I'm going to start my own business. Cool.
Yeah, you are.
What about you?
The skydiving. I've never super wanted to do skydiving. Like it was kind of taboo in our religion. You were not supposed to do that because, you're putting your life at risk in your life.
Yeah, we didn't tell anyone we did it.
I know. I remember finding out and being like, oh,
scandal.
Yeah, scandalous.
I know.
Me and Edwin we went to Tahiti for our 10-year anniversary, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Like total bucket list item. We have not ever skydived, and I talked him into doing it with me in Tahiti, of all places, and it got canceled. So yeah, we were not able to do that. You know what? I feel like that's the story of my life because I went to Hawaii with my friend Diana, and we were supposed to swim with sharks, like actual big sharks in Hawaii, and it got canceled because of the weather, and we weren't going to be there long enough to reschedule. So
when Jake and I were planning the trip to Isla Mujeres to go with the whale sharks, we looked at that aisle off of Baja or whatever where they put blood and stuff in the water, and then you get in the cage, and then the great white sharks all come and try to until I saw that freaking video of the shark demolishing the cage, and I was like, oh hell no. That was terrifying to me.
That's another dream of mine that I haven't done. I would love to swim with sharks, and we saw a couple blacktip reefs in Tahiti, and it was so cool.
Yeah. What is your most embarrassing story?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I remember this.
You have one? Moment. Like you know the story?
Well, there's one that always comes up, but I'm sure I have. Oh no, I have another one. Okay, well, one was a farting story. I don't know. I was sitting in the 6th grade, and I have restless legs, and I feel like I've had it for my entire life. And I just sit in weird positions, and right now I'm in a crisscross applesauce in this. But I was leaning back in my chair, and my legs were bent, but I don't know. Anyways, I sneezed and farted at the same time. I was in the 6th grade, so I was horrified, and it was in the middle of class. I blamed it on everyone besides me. I was like, I sneezed. There's no other things coming out. I was just the one that sneezed. And I think someone next to me thought they heard it behind them as well. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, so they helped my story. But yeah, so it was that.
That's fantastic.
And then I remember this other time in church, somebody gave me a compliment on my dress or something. And you know, when someone's like, "Oh my gosh, I like your dress," you're like, "Oh, thanks. I like your hair," or whatever. I went to do that, only her hair looked terrible. So I like tried to like find something else like to compliment her on, and I literally did like an elevator eyes on her, and I couldn't find anything. It was so embarrassed. I don't even know what I told her at the end. Maybe I complimented her dress as well, but it was painfully obvious that like I would simply do something. Oh my god. Speaking of elevator eyes, I did elevator eyes to a surgeon that I worked with. Okay, he's good looking and he's young. And then I was walking past him in this short hallway. So like I turned and saw him and we walked past each other pretty quickly. He was in like dress pants and a dress shirt and a tie. Like he was coming from the office, and I just was not expecting to see like a good looking guy in like a suit. And I like totally elevator eyed him, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't even hide. That's so embarrassing. I can't
Did
even
you have
hide
to
it.
work with him again after?
Yes, I did. I think I worked with him that day. I'm
Oh
like,
my
I am
God.
so sorry. I just raped you with my eyes. Like,
Did you tell him that?
no, God.
I was going to say, how quickly did
Never.
HR call you, Heather? We need to
Right?
see you
No.
again.
I was just like, oh my god, I did not mean to do that. I
Oh,
am
man.
such a whore.
I'm glad you know that now.
Yes. You know, I'm glad I know that I'm a whore. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't control my eyes. Okay, what's your most embarrassing 3 moments? Because apparently I can't share enough.
Well, at first, I honestly was like, I don't know. I think I just have blocked them out so hard. So, yeah. Lisa, thank you for this question, but damn you as well, because these were really hard. I had to drum up things. But you telling your story about the 6th grade made me think of the 7th grade when during roll call, our teacher would ask like a random question. And so this one in particular was, what's your favorite planet? And this was back when Pluto was a real planet, not a fake planet. And so people were like, I like Pluto, I like Earth, I like Mars. So I just thought I'd be really smart and say Uranus, and everyone laughed, and I didn't know why. And I literally was like, 10 years later that I learned why everyone laughed.
Oh my god. They probably thought you were trying to be funny, and you're like, no, it really is
well, but my face, okay, that's the thing. If I get even slightly uncomfortable, my face turns beet red. There is no hiding it. And then inevitably someone's like, oh my god, your face is red. And then it just turns bright red. I'm a freaking red hot. It's terrible. Yeah. And so, yeah, by the color of my face, everyone knew that I was like confused as to why everyone was laughing at me. And then there was a time when we were in the Dominican Republic on the boat, and as happens, they were drunken sailors. I was underage, so I was not drinking at that time in that country. But I got pulled onto the dance floor by a guy, and he gave me a tambourine, and he like made me dance with him, and I was mortified. But I was also really upset that no one stopped it, and no one was like, I can see this underage girl is really uncomfortable with this elderly man making her dance on the floor. But I was so embarrassed.
So I might have to one-up you on the group of people making you come out to the floor and dance, because I was in Peru and we took this boat out to like this village that puts on kind of a show for them, and the women are all topless. Every single one of them, no matter their age or size or anything.
Little white girls from Baltimore don't know how to handle that, do they?
No, they don't. Little Christian white girls.
Yes.
Like, God, my eye. And then to be there with your entire family. Totally. Your dad, your uncle, your mom, your everybody. Oh, yeah, everyone. And so I let them drag me onto the dance floor and like participate in their topless dance. And
do you remember the dance?
No, it was just like ring around the
I'm sure it had more cultural
I'm sure it did.
significance.
I'm sure we were dancing to some god. But
way to be a people pleaser. Man, that peer pressure gets you every time, doesn't it?
I know, it's terrible. I can't say no. What misconceptions do you think people have about you? Or could have about you?
I think people think I like people. And I, too, don't like people.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, right, so I was a personal trainer for a while, and I realized so quickly that I just really dislike people. And I got so irritated with people. They were like, I want to lose 20 pounds. And I'd be like, okay, here's exactly how to do it. And then they'd come to me a month later and be like, I haven't lost a single pound. I'm like, did you do all the things I told you to? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
you got to give up
$1,000. Thank you.
For not listening to me.
Right. For not listening. Like and then I had a client who like literally came in and told me she cheated on her husband the night before. And I was like, guess we're doing burpees for an hour. That's your penance. I just, and I'm in my head like, why the hell do you think I need to hear that? You should be ashamed of yourself, or go to therapy, go talk to someone else, but not me. I guess that's it. I like people I like, and I don't like people I don't like, but I'll always be nice to people. So you'll probably never know.
Yeah.
Although maybe I'm not as good as hiding it as I think I am.
I mean, I think you're pretty good at hiding it.
I mean, you know who I don't like, so, what about you? What's a misconception?
I think, I don't know if this is a misconception or not, but so I just got a job recently in a cancer center in chemo infusions, and I love it, but I think people might think that I'm there because of the experience with my mom, who passed away from cancer. But when my mom passed away, those people that are like, they lose a family member to cancer or anything, and they're like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to cure cancer, blah, blah, blah. I was 100% the opposite. I was like, I don't ever want to see anybody else that's sick. And I had such a hard time at work after my mom passed away. Like, I would just go drive home crying every single day for like a year, because we would have patients that were getting a biopsy and surgery, and we would find out they had cancer, and had just met them and their family pre-op, and I knew they were going to wake up to this news. Yeah. And it was terrible. And I absolutely did not want to. I searched for so many things to get out of nursing because I hated it for such a long time. Like coding. I spent so much money trying to get out of nursing. And I ended up in this cancer care center that I absolutely never thought I would be. And I love it. And I love the patients. And honestly, I think the nurses that work there are why I love it. The team is just so amazing. One of the patients was asking me the other day, because she was, sitting there for a few hours for her infusion. And she was like, the nurses here, I hear them say like, hey, Joe, like the patients come in and they don't ask their name. They're just like, hey, like they know everybody. And she's like, how do they know everyone? And I'm like, well, we see people a lot, like you come in for your cancer treatments for, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, sometimes once every week, right? For months. Yeah, sometimes. And they just know everyone, and they're just like amazing. I don't know if it's their memory or what, but they're just amazing nurses. And I would have never seen myself here a few years ago. And I think people have this misconception that, or might think, oh, she's there because, her mom, she's such a noble person. That's not it at all. I wanted to leave nursing, trust me. But I'm loving it there. And cancer, it's not as sad as people might think. Like, lots of people beat cancer. People get better. There's so many medications now to help with the side effects. It's not as bad as it used to be. So that went real deep real fast. Sorry. It's okay. Remember how my mom died of cancer? No.
Well, it's one of those, like, I know I was there, but it's not something I have the right to bring up, because it's not my story. It's your story, and it's her story, right? And so I never want to be the one who's like, do you remember that? Let's talk about it. Like, oh my God, that's so overstepping. But yes. But
I do. I really like it. I don't know. My mom passed 8 years ago, and I am definitely in a different, like, it still hurts and it's still terrible, but I'm in a much better place than I was. And I remember I would take care of my mom a lot when I was younger. Like when I was a kid, she would throw her back out and couldn't even get out of bed. And I would literally help her, like, brush her teeth. I would help her with a bedpan. I like all those things. And so when I became a nurse, she was like, oh yeah, well, you're a national caretaker. And I'd be like, well, I mean, I do still hate people. So don't give me too much credit here.
I mean, maybe that's the line you do have to draw in order to be a good nurse, because otherwise maybe you take on too much if you don't ever have that border of like, I really don't like you, but you are so empathetic that, like, yes, even if you don't like me, you're still going to do these things.
Yes, I'm still going to take care of you.
Yeah, you might not give me a hug and like hold my hand and look deeply into my eyes,
we're not
but
gonna be friends, but I will do my best to take care of you. It's true. I feel like
and you're not gonna be mean about it.
Right, yeah. Unless you don't listen to me, and then I'm going to be pissed because I'm like, why are you coming? People come to us all the time for help, and then they don't listen to it. It's like you're personal training.
I know.
I'm trying to help you.
Why
Why
people do that?
To me. I know. Yeah. It's like the doctors that are like way too smart for their own good. They have like no bedside manner, but they're just geniuses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a renal specialist who was that way. He was just too smart and he was not good. He was not good with the people and the words.
Yeah.
And at one point he's like, why do you drink that much water? Are you thirsty? Eat some potato chips. And I was like,
gosh.
What? Get out of here.
You drink too much water. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were. Yeah. I feel like if the demand is there, we'll get into birth stories another time because that was.
Oh my gosh, yes, we will. Taya's had 2 crazy birth stories, I feel like.
So one of the questions was, do you have a hidden talent? And the first thing I wrote down, trying to die on childbirth. Is that my talent? Because I'm 2 for 2 on that one.
You are 2 for 2 on that one.
But I think my other hidden talent, maybe people don't know, maybe you do know, is puzzling. I love to puzzle.
You're really good at puzzle.
And you might ask yourself, how does one so hot puzzle? And I can say I do it so well.
It is a hidden talent you would never know by looking at your face.
What's your hidden talent?
No. I'm untalented.
No, that's a lie. Can you like gargle? Oh, what?
I love to sing. We just
loving to sing and being good at singing are 2 very different things.
I mean, I
like how you're backpedaling on that.
I know. So I've loved to sing since I was a little kid. I think I have a pretty good range, and everyone that I've has heard me sing has told me I have a good voice.
Wow.
Edwin keeps saying
American Idol.
I know.
Is that why you like to do karaoke?
Yes. Which we've never done, so you wouldn't know that I can sing. But
why have I never done karaoke?
Because you hate it.
I hate it. I hate it. I know.
Because you can't sing. I'm just kidding.
Bitch, I could. That's the thing. Sing. If you tell me I can't do something, I will do it just to spite you.
Oh.
But nice. Singing, it's just not a fun time for Taya. And I think it's because I get so embarrassed that I don't sound like Adele or Celine Dion or Mariah Carey. Mm-hmm. And then my face gets red, and then I'm so aware of my face being red that I just can't have fun.
Who would be a dream guest for you to have on the podcast?
Oh, okay. I have a list. This is one we did prep for. Okay, so Tia Levings, because hi, I just listened to you on Glennon Doyle. Which Glennon Doyle? I want you to. You are also speaking. I'm speaking directly to you. I'm manifesting this, if you will. I just started Tia's book today, and like the way she freaking sucker punches you by page 2, I'm like, oh my gosh, like feeling all the feels. I'm just very inspired by their story and by her story and motivated. And Glennon, I'm also in her book, and I read a chunk more last night after I needed to emotionally recover from finishing Iron Flame. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so help me if there's mommy issues in Untamed. And God damn it, there was. And I'm just there like bawling. But I think both of those would just be absolutely amazing women to chat with. And then there is a gal I follow on TikTok. Her name is Ashley DeSano, and she is like an unapologetic, open supporter of women, of LGBTQ, like I just love her stash. She's from Portland. She's a marathoner. I just love her openness. I love her peanut butter cookies. I make them almost weekly. They are amazing. And I think she'd be a really fun person to talk to because she also hosts a podcast with her best friend. And she's hosting this getaway in Arizona 4 days after we're there. And she has Geneva Rose coming. She has Lucinda Berry coming. Like the lineup is insane. And I'm just like, if I could please just talk to you one time. you'd be amazing. And then, of course, Geneva Rose would be incredible to have on.
Yeah, she would.
We've talked about her.
Yep.
Yeah, fangirl for her. And then lastly, Jess King and or Allie Love, which are both Peloton instructors. But these women are such badasses, and they're so inspirational, and everything they talk about, just like if I want to like get all the feels, I go for Allie. And if I want some tough love, I go for Jess. And I think these women are very, very cool.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yes. Yeah. I love strong women. That's where I see our podcast going, just like uplifting other women. I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geneva Rose would be really fun to have on. Also, I'd love to interview Tori Dunlap, who wrote the book Financial Feminist and has a podcast about finances and women. She's so sassy, and she lives in Seattle. So, Tori.
We'll come to you, Tori.
Yeah. But I just love how unapologetic she is about her opinion. She hates Donald Trump. She hates Dave Ramsey. And I just love how like vocal she is about it and like why. Yeah. And how she's, just trying to empower women to get their finances together.
Cool. Yeah. We're manifesting it, and we'll do our best to bring it to you in season 2. Yes. Do you have a fave podcast?
I like the finance ones a lot. Tori's, I talked about Net Worth and Chill. Really like Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. He interviews a lot of cool people. So that's one that I listen to regularly. And then there's another YouTuber that I follow, Ali Abdal, and he had a podcast. I don't think he renewed to do more seasons. But he interviewed a lot of cool like entrepreneurs and people like that. So his podcast was called Deep Dive.
Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't have the like mental headspace to listen to a lot of podcasts at this time. Having toddlers is very overstimulating. But when I was pregnant, I started listening to the Birth Hour. And Bryn Hunt Palmer, she has women come on and tell their birth stories. And it is so simple, the layout of this podcast. And it is so, I just loved it. I learned so much from it. I was so motivated and inspired by it. And then like when I was pregnant with my second during COVID, it had just like, I found I was pregnant and 2 weeks later, the world shut down. And so it was just so much uncertainty. And her podcast was interviewing these women who had just given birth, but like their partners couldn't come in the room. They had to wear masks the whole time. Like just the wildest things that were going on. And I just remember sitting doing a puzzle at my dining room table and just sobbing, listening to this woman's story. And I did have the privilege of telling Quinn's birth story on her podcast. And that was such a cool experience. And so I think that one really just like stuck with me. And I recommend it to anyone pregnant, because she tells any story, the range of it, whether you want unmedicated in a field with the deer, or if you want every medical intervention known to man. Like she tells the gambit of stories, or lets women. And I think it's just so important for women to have the space to do that. And I love it. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That was cool when you were on there.
Okay. Favorite spot to eat in the Valley? Or semi-local. Okay. It can be semi-local.
Okay. So me and Edwin were just talking about this literally last night, how there's nothing in Burlington that we like to go eat at, or Mount Vernon. There are some downtown spots, maybe. Honestly, we like to go to Anacortes a lot. So like the Brown Lantern is one of my favorite spots. Their burgers just hit. Like
the Wrangler.
So good. They
also make drinks. A wicked Long Island iced tea. It's so good.
Oh, I normally go for a rum and Coke. And
try their Long Island. It'll knock your panties off.
Well, guess Edwin will be glad to hear that. So the Brown, I really like the Union Tavern as well. Their nachos are good. Their drinks are good.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
We love the Corner Pub out in Bow. And it's just like, it's consistent. We like their food.
Right.
Tasha Lee's Table, cool ambiance, good food. And then there's 2 new restaurants in town I want to try. Rachel's Alibi, which was Vagabond. And then Tide and Taste, which is like an upscale dining experience. But Jake did some work in there before they opened. And everything looks fantastic. And I like that it's a different dining experience here in town. So I'm excited to go and support them.
Yeah, for sure. I almost forgot the Wheelhouse. Like Village
Yeah. Oh,
is my favorite pizza ever.
yeah.
It's just so freaking good. And so you've got Village Pizza, which is family friendly on one side, and then you've got the Wheelhouse, which is the bar on the other side, and they do the pizza and the drinks, and their drinks are so good. Their lemon drops.
Their pizza is probably the best in town.
Yeah, probably the best in the valley, honestly, because I don't know who else does better pizza than Village.
I don't know, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Love you, Village.
Yes, we do.
Keep on doing what you're doing.
Keep making pizzas.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we do one more question?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's something very important that I need to clarify. I'm in the episode where Taya was asking me questions, and it was like the get to know me episode. She asked, what is something that people would be surprised that I'm passionate about?
Yes.
And the real answer to that question is football. Like,
not feminism.
Not feminism.
I actually don't care about that.
I don't think that's surprising. I mean, I am a girl. But no, I am so into football. I'm watching the playoffs right now. I really hope the Chiefs lose, which they didn't today, but I know the rules. I know what's going on. I know the teams. I understand how the
she's
playoffs
not just saying
work.
this. She actually does.
If you invite me to your house to watch football and you try to talk to me, please don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to watch and see what's going on. I'm not, with the ladies in the kitchen chatting. I'm trying to
over
watch
their jalapeno dip. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I just sent you a Marco the other night, right? Because Quinn and Willow were talking about they watch football every Sunday at my in-laws. And Quinn's getting really into it, and Willow is like vaguely aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so Quinn was telling me all about football and how it's going to be the playoffs and how the game we're watching had like lots of tackles and injuries. Yeah. And Willow's like, that's why the Packers lost, is because one of them broke his nail. And I just like cracked up, and I was like, hold that thought. Gotta Marco Heather this.
Yes.
And I love, because I know you have feelings about the Packers, and I'm like, oh, and they lost because they broke a nail. Like, it's just hilarious. I just had this like mental image of this like massive linebacker who's like, I hurt my nail, and like, game's over, we're done.
I don't remember anybody breaking a nail or a finger or anything, but yeah, they hurt their fingers all the time. Maybe.
Yeah. And I think that's the end of our episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Catch us for season 2. We're going to take a couple weeks to a month or 4 off, and we'll let you know when we're back.
We'll be back soon.
We'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But keep up with us on socials and drop us a line wherever you find us at. Mm-hmm. But seriously, thank you, everyone, for supporting season 1. We very much appreciate it. This was a shot in the dark and something for us to just try. Scary as hell. But we've had a lot of fun, and we can't wait to continue doing it. If you have any things you want to see us do or hear from us, let us know so that we can try to make all of your dreams come true.
Yes, and we have exciting plans for season 2 with some guests on the show, which should be fun. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Bye.